How we doing today, folks? Here with you guys for our seventh week, I believe it is. So we are in our seventh week. We are in our next shell in our Blackboard course. So you will see that now open, week 7 open. So as of you are watching this video, you now have your argumentative, persuasive essays in. Remember, this is the one where you're not relying on research. It's your own intuition, sense of logic, ethics, and using strong evocative language to get your point across. In a couple weeks from now, you will then incorporate research that you find in the Galileo databases. Remember, Galileo is where you go, and you could get there through your general login screen, where you log in a Blackboard. You should be able to see Galileo there. It's basically the Georgia University System's online library for scholarly resources. There you'll be able to find experts, researchers, etc., in the particular field you are looking at for your topic, opine, give their opinions on, or their critically informed ideas on your particular topic. So let's say your topic is election fraud, okay, that there is election fraud, widespread election fraud on some level in the United States. You will be able to find research from experts on the validity of that claim, yes or no, if so, to what extent, etc., in Galileo. Now, we don't have this essay due this week, the research enhanced version. That'll be next week, but this week, you only have one thing to do, and that's the journal on argumentative and persuasive approaches, where I ask you guys to just kind of think about if the art of argumentation is kind of lost on us today. Personally, I think it is. I think that social media, Twitter, is kind of the stand-in representative of all of social media. I think it's kind of poisoned our discourse and our relationship with each other. Used to be, I would say, and others would say, hey, the world is not Twitter. Okay, so just log off of Twitter, which I have done. I am Twitter clean and sober for some time now. I don't do Facebook. I don't do Twitter. Instagram, I believe I have an account, but I never go on it. I don't go on my Instagram. All that stuff. I think it's a net negative thing, social media. Maybe you might think that's kind of pessimistic or negative, and I'm sorry if you do. But, you used to be, for example, when Facebook first came around, I was a freshman, sophomore in college at LSU. The year was 2003, 2004, something like that. That's when Facebook first came around. You had to have a college email extension to get an account. It was people my age at the time. We were 19 years old or so, logging in, getting in touch with our high school friends from a few years ago, networking, talking about cool bands that we liked, going to concerts, and hey, check out this cool thing. And MySpace came out a few years later. It was a lot like that too. No one gave a hoot about politics or are you a mask or an anti-max or it was, none of that existed. It was nice. Okay. Then we went a step further. Everybody started having an account, which isn't a bad thing. I think social media is good for, like, let's say your grandmother who lives out of state. Let's say you, your older sister, brother, parents have a child. Okay. Well, your grandmother can then see a picture of that child on Facebook and have a connection there because she's not in the state with you. See, stuff like that is nice. And I think that is a good thing, a benefit that social media provides. But I think it's just far overshadowed, I should say, by all the absolute nonsense that people throw at each other. And I was guilty of it too. That's why I got off of Twitter. I was becoming a loud, yelly McYellerson. So I said, hey, I want no part of this. So don't know where I started from with that kind of meandering tangent there. But social media, maybe that's one of your argumentative topics, one of you out there, okay, as to its positive or negative effects. If I were writing a paper, I would write that social media, in an overall sense, is a bad thing more than it is a good thing. That's not the internet per se. I'm just talking about like maybe Twitter as in particular. Okay, so you guys should be looking through Galileo this week is my main point, because there's just our journal. That's what I was talking about. The journal is the art of argumentation lost on us today. That's where I was. Yes, I think it is in that context, in the social media online context, okay? But really, argumentation is supposed to be me and you having a conversation with each other. We might not agree. I might be trying to convince you to see my side of things. That's the persuasive element of it. I'm using logic, okay? Maybe giving you facts, statistics, or appealing to your sense of reason and rationality, logos, pathos. Maybe I'm getting a little charged up in my tone, using strong language, emotion, ethos. I'm telling you, who am I to speak on this? Credibility, character, authority. And maybe you and I are bridging. I'm starting here, you're starting here, and we're trying to come to a middle ground, perhaps. Argumentation is good for two people who start at opposite sides of an issue, and maybe they start to see each other's side and meet each other halfway. That's really what argument should be for, okay? If not reaching consensus, at least you respect your opposition's viewpoint. Of course, some things are beyond the pale. If someone tried to argue the benefits or the good aspects of genocide or something like that, that's beyond the pale. That's out of bounds. So not everything is worth arguing, and not everything should be argued, and not everything should be taken seriously. But in a country where we purportedly have free speech, we should at least be able to hear it and make up our own minds. That is my opinion on that issue. So I will counsel you all to look at the Galileo databases, see what sources are out there. You will need three. I think I have it at a minimum of 3 to 4 sources for next week's paper, okay? So as you only have a journal this week, which you do have to respond to by Friday, that's the first 2 to 3 paragraphs for your journal. So not a lot to do, so why not take some time to go and look in the Galileo databases there for sources that match your topic. How to incorporate sources in your essay. A lot of really helpful information is in the SEC Chapter 4 on research writing. It shows you how to incorporate sources. I believe there's a student example in there as well. So that'll all be good for next week. Before I wrap up, video will be on the short side this week, but before I wrap up, I want to say bravo and brava to the descriptive essays. On the whole, I thought they were really good. So thanks for that. You guys, a lot of you did really well with using an organizing principle, like we had talked about. Like, let's say if you're describing your house, an organizing principle is the way in which you relate your descriptions to the reader. So maybe you start in the living room and you go upstairs and downstairs into the kitchen, whatever it was. Many of you did that, and I thought you did it pretty well. And some of the writing was really, really good, like quite good. And it's really great to read that, and it makes me happy to do what I do when I see stuff like that. Some of us still not quite getting the format right. If you are having formatting issues, like you see it one way on your side, and then it, once you send it to Blackboard, maybe it scrambles the formatting. You could let me know, but some of you, you're just not, bothering to adhere to the format guidelines. Okay. So formatting is a big thing. You want to make sure everything looks right first, okay? So just some takeaways there from our last essay. Also, you guys want to make sure you are staying on track and doing things as per due dates, because I'm gonna start losing patience with having to go rooting through my emails and finding late work. okay? Mostly because I'm not going to have the time to do it, or the patience or the energy to do it. With 111 students, I think I've said this already, everything needs to be, as Tom York of Radiohead said in the beginning of their great album Kid A, probably my favorite Radiohead song, everything in its right place. Everything in its right place. When everything is in its right place, turned in on time, where it's supposed to be, chef's kiss, we are all good. Okay, if not, it starts to get chaotic, and that's not good for anybody. Okay, so please make sure you're staying on track. If you ever have any like major extenuating circumstances, of course you can let me know about that, and I'll do my best to work with you. Okay. All right, so journal this week on your opinion on whether or not the art of argumentation is lost on the population at large today. Maybe there are some exceptions to that. Maybe social media is one avenue, real life conversations another avenue. 2-3 paragraphs on that, and do start to look through Galileo to find sources from critics and experts that you could use in your research enhanced version of your argumentative and persuasive essay, which will be due at the end of next week. With that, I don't know if my black and gold are going to fare that well today. Also, my adopted Jaguars, I doubt will do well today too, but go Saints and go Jags anyway. Falcons, I don't know if you guys are Falcons fans. Of course I'm not and never was. Georgia, Atlanta folks tend to be pretty fair weather with the Falcons, understandable, so I will not say go Falcons, but go your team, whoever it may be. Okay, so peace. Talk to you again next week. Have a good one.